So today we're talking about the 50-30-20 rule, straightforward way to organize every dollar. And I'll tell you why I don't use it. Because there's a much smarter system to split your income, and I'll reveal it in just a moment so you can actually save more and spend smarter than you do now. Most of us grew up hearing just don't spend more than you earn, right? It sounds helpful, but it doesn't tell you how to actually split your cash so it actually lasts. So instead of hoping for the best, we'll follow a strict formula that gives each dollar a job. Because let's be real, if budgeting was that simple, why are most people still struggling with money? Hi, my name is Philip. I've studied business administration and traveled to over 100 countries, helping me see what budgeting tricks work and which are total myths. So today I'm sharing the exact framework that helped me and a ton of other people feel relaxed about money. Okay, before we throw the 50-30-20 rule completely under the bus, let's be fair because there are a few things that it does quite well. Because obviously there's a reason it's so popular. For one, it gives you a basic structure. It's like training wheels for your money. You've got 50% for stuff you have to pay for, like rent, groceries, and bills, 50% for what you want, like pizza, Netflix, or that unnecessary third pair of sneakers, and the remaining 20% go into savings. Now, is this perfect? No, but if you've never budgeted before, it's way better than doing nothing. It helps you think, wait, maybe I shouldn't spend all my money on burritos and Bluetooth speakers. So yeah, props for that. But, and this is a big one, there are some real problems with this rule too. The biggest issue is that it acts like everyone's life is the same. And it's not. At all. If you're just starting out and barely scraping by, spending only 50% on needs is almost a joke, because rent alone might eat up almost all of that. On the flip side, if you're making big money and you're using 30% of it to buy wants, well, that's how you accidentally buy a Tesla just because you were bored on a Sunday morning. So if you're earning more, your savings should go up too, not your snack budget. Because there's another sneaky problem, it's called lifestyle inflation. You make more money and magically your expenses grow too. You start thinking that you need that robot vacuum, and then you need a new couch for that vacuum to avoid, and then a new apartment to accommodate that couch, and before you know, your money's gone again and the only one that's living comfortable is your robot vacuum. Honestly, and this is a true story, I'm exactly in that situation right now. I already know that I'm gonna get a salary increase in a couple of weeks, and I'm already looking online to buying a new set of golf clubs. And I really need to keep myself under control to not just buy. So make sure you pay attention to that too, because it's terrible. So the last thing is that it says save 20%, which sounds smart, but it doesn't really tell you where that money should go. If it's just sitting in a regular savings account, inflation is going to be eating it up. So the 50-30-20 rule is not terrible. It's kind of like a frozen pizza. It gets the job done when you're starving, but there's a much better alternative out there if you're willing to learn. So if that rule doesn't quite cut it, what actually does work? Let me show you how I handle my money. Because it's not some secret millionaire formula or a get rich quick in 24 hours hack. It's just a simple system that helps me stay organized, stress less, and not accidentally spend my rent money on sushi. So instead of setting goals and remembering I'll only spend 30% on fun stuff, hoping I remember that when I'm standing in front of a new gadget, I just split my money into different bank accounts, physically or digitally. In that case. So here's what I do when I get paid. As soon as I get my paycheck, I split my money into 4 bank accounts. Number 1 is fixed cost. I know exactly how much money I need each month to cover stuff like rent, my phone bill, insurance, all that boring but necessary stuff. This money goes into its own bucket, so I never have to think about it again. There are no surprises, no, oh crap, my gym fee came out today. That money is automatically transferred into my fixed cost account, and from there it goes to whoever gets the money. Bank account number 2 is credit card payments. I use my credit card for most things. It's usually the cheapest alternative in foreign countries, and I like collecting points. So this card just holds whatever I've spent on the card ready to pay it off in full, which is mostly wants and needs. I've manually adjusted my monthly credit card cycle to end right when I get paid. So every month when I get my salary, I already know exactly how much money I need to pay off my credit cards in full just a couple days later. So then I pay that exact amount to my credit card's bank account from where it's then deducted. Now you might have noticed that I don't have a precise budget for my wants, and that's because my income fluctuates and I prioritize savings every month. I'll explain it better in just a second. Now if you find yourself at the risk of overspending if you don't have a fixed limit on your credit card account, you can of course also take a debit card, which then takes money directly from the account as soon as you spend it. But I personally have myself well under control with how much I spend on my credit card, so I don't need to worry about that. But be honest to yourself. If you do have a risk, then it's better to not use a credit card. Now account number 3 is savings. And while I don't have a maximum amount of how much I can spend on wants each month, I do have a minimum that I want to save each month. So basically what I do is I have a fixed amount of money that I put into my savings account each month as soon as I get paid, and depending on how much I earn, I top it up a little more or not. And the fourth and final account is investments. Part of what I earn goes into my stock portfolio so that my money actually grows instead of just sitting around doing nothing. My investments account is directly tied to my savings account, so all the money I invest is basically coming from that savings account. I intentionally have a decent amount of money in my savings account to be prepared when unexpected expenses come up. But pretty much everything that is not part of the security buffer goes into my investment portfolio, which is where I want to build my wealth long term and which I don't touch under any circumstances. Or maybe I would if a serious emergency came up. So basically, it's a three-step process. Number one, start with your fixed cost. Before you decide on any percentages, calculate your essential expenses first. This includes rent, utilities, insurance, and debt payments. And then just have an automatic bank transfer of that amount go into your fixed cost bank account each month. Step number two, prioritize savings. Decide how much you want to save, not just what's left over at the end of the month. If you want to invest 30% instead of just 20%, adjust accordingly. However, I like to think in absolute numbers instead of percentages. And step number three, finally, allocate what's left for spending, because this is the most flexible category. Some months you might spend more, others less, and that's okay as long as the first two categories are covered. How much you spend on savings and wants is always a question of balance and priority. But as long as your needs are covered and you're happy with your savings rate, you can go as crazy on wants as you like. So why does this system work better than the classic 50-30-20 rule? It's simple. It bends instead of breaking. Because the biggest issue with that 50-30-20 rule is that it's like one of those one-size-fits-all solutions. It kind of fits everyone, but it also kind of fits no one. The system I showed you adjusts to you, whether you earn $1,200 or $12,000. It works with what you've got. Because honestly, who cares about hitting perfect percentages? Like, no one's gonna come knocking on your door if you're off by 2%. What actually matters is the following. You can cover your basic costs without sweating through your t-shirt. You save and invest before your money mysteriously vanishes. And you give yourself a bit of freedom so it doesn't feel like a financial jail. If you can tick those three boxes, it doesn't matter if your setup is like 50-30-20 or 62.7, 18.3 and whatever. You're in control, and that's the whole point. And that's why I love the system. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional with your spending, and that's something way more powerful. Alright, so we started with the 50-30-20 rule, which is simple and honestly a great starting point if you're just starting out with budgeting. But then we saw how it doesn't fit real life because life is not made of clear percentages. So instead of throwing it out, we upgraded it. I showed you the bank account system that separates your money into clear buckets so you always know what's for bills, what's for saving, and what's okay to spend without guilt. So here's what to remember. Number one, structure beats guessing. If your money is all in one pile, it's way too easy to lose track. So separate it. Number two, your system should fit your life, not the other way around. And number three, budgeting is just the start. The real win is building long-term wealth, not just spending less on takeout. So if you came here just expecting a breakdown of a simple money rule and ended up with a practical system that you can actually use, then I did my job today and can highly recommend you this video where I talk about why $10,000 is the turning point for building wealth, and I'll also give you some advice on how to get there. So thank you very much for watching, and hey, go set up that second bank account. Your future self will be very happy you did.